Be careful up here, all right? Ring-a-ling, ding-ding, guys. How's it going? Welcome to 6110, Rotary's friendliest club. So everybody applaud for that. I know you're eating right now, so I won't put too much pressure on you, but welcome to our club. We have some great guests today, great speakers, and a few other housewarming duties that we need to take care of. But before we get started, if you stand while you're able to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. If you're like me, you've been running around today. I left the house at 7:30 and haven't stopped since. And I forgot my bag that has all my stuff in it for Rotary. So I knew, Ginny, you had something we need to vote on.
No, not vote, just a report.
Report on, and then Susie, did you have something?
I don't have anything.
Well, that's fine.
I thought someone else said there was 2 other things we gotta do. Between my texting and email, you can go ahead and come on, Ginny, share that with us if
I'll
you're
introduce you.
able to now.
I have handouts.
And I personally want to thank all of you for the dog food that you donated. I know it was in the email, but man, that was some great stuff that you got us. Usually we get like Old Roy or something, and we don't like using Old Roy. It's like bologna, you know. It's the most unhealthiest food for dogs. So the ones that you guys got for us were wonderful. We're gonna be able to mix that up with other stuff, and that's gonna probably cover us for the rest of the year. So thank you guys very, very much for that.
How many dogs do you have in Foster now?
Currently, we've got about 20,
20.
and about 10, 15 cats, and 2 rats.
2 rats?
2 rats.
Rats.
We almost got a guinea pig last week, but case manager ended up taking care of it. We had parrots once, but we didn't transport them. We just had to go by the house, feed them everything. No one wants to do that. And Jenny's passing out the trust report.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, come on.
Well, the main thing that you guys need to look at, if you've got a copy, sorry for the yes, but this is our annual report for the trust that the club has had since 1993. I think that's when it started. And it has been carefully guarded by Jeff James, who will talk to us later about how it's invested and how it's doing. You really only need the bottom numbers. On the left-hand side is what is invested at Edwards Jones, and we have the totals and then the service charges. And on the right side of the page under Mabry Bank is the account that we have with the bank that just takes funds that we get as a club. We gather some here at the meetings. We have a fundraiser down at Southwood, and we have donations from club members. The most generous this year was Stan, so kudos to him. So the total that we have at the start of the year was $249,000, and we ended at 276. So that was 27,000 up for the year, either with investments or donations, and then some from our fundraiser. And so we have a required distribution every year, and we've been more active as a club with this. Patty and I are going to be co-presidents starting in June, and so we're going to send out like a questionnaire as to how we can combine the funds that we have with our club and kind of like we did with Route 66, where we as a club gave to something, and then they in return gave us service projects, and unfortunately not new members, because it was a little disoriented as far as how many different factions there were in Route 66 celebrations and development. So we're gonna be looking for something new. You might be thinking about it. It could be senior citizens, it could be infants, it could be veterans, it could be something different with Route 66. We've had suggestions of remote Tulsa. We've had all kinds of ideas, but we will be gathering that information after the first of the year. So anyway, Jeff is going to tell us about our investments and the market in general, and that will be our annual report that you guys can ever get before the end of the year. Jeff James.
I remember when we first started this, that we weren't gonna spend any money until it went over 100,000. Now we're about 275,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, the investments were set up years ago, in what I call a 65-mile-an-hour portfolio. 65% of it invested in great companies throughout the world. The other 35% is the fixed income. So over the last 12 months, since year to date, it's up over 12%. And you may go home and look at the newspaper and go, well, the S&P 500 index is like 25%. Well, bonds are only up 2%, that's the 35% of the portfolio. And then international stocks, which makes up about a quarter of the portfolio, are another piece of it, and those haven't performed as well as the United States. Now you're saying, well, how come it's not all in the one that's doing well? It's kind of like changing lanes when you're stuck in traffic. As soon as you change lanes and go into the other lane, it stops and that one moves. So we're keeping the investments diversified. They get looked at every week. When they fall off by a certain margin over a 2-week period, we're going to rebalance that portfolio back to that 65-mile an hour. Really, that's, I mean, if you want some market prognostication,
I just like that word.
yeah. I always I use this line my whole career pretty much, is it's very, very easy to predict the future. It's just really hard to get it right.
That's a good one.
So, and I had a presentation last week where I was talking with a group, and I said, I remember in 1999, I went to Boston to see a economist, well known throughout the industry, and he said the next decade is going to be unbelievable. And he was right. But he was totally wrong on the direction of what it did. And I learned from that even the smartest people in the room can't predict the futures. Stay diversified like we're doing and keep the course.
So is the 13,000, is that the balance at the Mabry Bank what I call a pass-through account?
No, the balance.
That's how much has to be taken out, I think.
Oh.
No, that's the 5%. At this point, we're at about 12, 13,000. That
In the bank?
is the average that we have for our distribution.
Disbursement.
Yeah,
That's our required.
that's our required.
And I know
There's only 3,200 in Mabry.
Oh, I see, okay, right, yeah.
I've recommended in the past that any new donations that come in just go straight into the cash at Mabry Bank and use that to do
Yes.
the distribution. Let this continue to grow so it don't match up and start taking money out.
No, we minimize what you've got to sell
Right.
by what we have. If we do a big amount, we've got. Thank you.
And we have to distribute that for 13,500.
Well, that's
It's in the middle of the year.
June by June. That's 5
Jenny, did my donation get matched?
Yes, the donation was matched. So that was
Outstanding.
at the very end, we had a challenge in the match, and it was $1,000 that was put in. Anybody is welcome if you want to, before the end of the year, to put something in. I send out tax letters, so if anybody wants to put in between now and December 31st.
You can also donate stock. If you have appreciated stock, put that into the account. And instead of writing a check for $1,000, if you got a $500 gain, you donate it and you don't have to pay the taxes. Just another idea. That's what I do.
Alright, anybody else have any other questions on that?
Yeah, you can look at it now, but if you're not gonna keep it, you can give it back to me, just so, you know, the numbers are all with us. But if you wanna keep the handout, go right ahead.
Great, thank you. Can we give them a round of applause for just working on this? A lot of work and a lot of positivity going into there, so we're really excited about all of that. Next we have our guest speaker, I believe, unless there's anything else. Patty, would you mind come giving an intro? If you don't mind, I think you know him.
For a few years.
Few years.
I also wanted to introduce Clint Rattez.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And Jerry Bates, who are both here from Riverfield. Clint is now the director of giving at Riverfield, replacing me, and he's delightful and wonderful. And Jerry has been my boss for forever and also is delightful. So many of you have met Peter before because he's come to our meetings on a number of occasions. Today you get to learn a little bit more about him and some very interesting history lessons. Peter's had a passion for fossils all his life. Early on, I used to take him to the Science Museum in Fort Worth, and I could leave him there for hours as he'd be digging for fossils at the dinosaur dig. He got a degree at University of Tulsa in petroleum engineering with a minor in geoscience. He's been an active board member and former president of the Tulsa Rock and Mineral Society, where members often look to him to identify various fossils and rocks and minerals. He's taken trips all over the country collecting fossils and minerals, and during one of his trips, he discovered a new genus and species of Pennsylvanian aged goniatite, located not too far from Tulsa, and which is currently in the process of being described. You can ask him more about that later, if you'd like. Today, he's going to take us way back in history and tell us about the oceans of Oklahoma.
I'm not sure how I'm going to best do this. I do not have a clicker. If
Well,
I-
I can click.
Okay, that works.
You just give me a glance and I'll click.
Okay. I might have to take over at one point because there's a secondary. So first, I'm just going to start off pretty broad, talk about the geologic timescale, talk about Oklahoma's geology in general,